Your speakers for today are Brian Michael, Senior Sales Engineer, and Paige Cromer, National Performance Strategist. And with that, I will pass things off to Paige.
Welcome back, everyone. Here's what we're going to cover today over the next 8 minutes or so, and then we'll have a few minutes for Q&A. Every customer, every time, the same way. Consistency is the key. F&I consultants and top performing F&I departments have been employing some version of this for a long time. It's about consistency. It's the key to sustainable growth. We've only got 10 minutes, so let's get started.
Hello, everyone. Sometimes what we and our customers experience at a dealership can be described as a Wild West show. I've invested 33 years at the dealership doing everything from service advisor, fixed ops director, general manager, so I know firsthand. You just never know what's going to happen. Too often, though, that description is accurate and it can certainly be unpredictable. Life at the dealership can be very entertaining, of course, but typically, Wild West show doesn't describe the behavior of the customers. Customers are going to be customers. It's not their job to know how the service lane works. It's ours. Rather, it describes the behavior of we, the dealership. Everybody is doing things their way, how they interpret what their job is supposed to be. Of course, our employees should be themselves and exhibit their own unique personalities and style, but within guidelines. The process cannot be so rigid that you have robots working the service lane. But there needs to be a roadmap for them and certain elements that need to get done every time with rare exception. You need a plan, you need KPIs. We're going to increase our revenue by 10% this year is not a plan. That's not even a goal because without a plan, it's just a wish. A plan has a process and KPIs to track that everyone is held accountable. KPIs aid the manager in helping their employees perform better by targeting where they need the help. Every customer, every time, same way in service. Why not? It works in F&I, it will work in service.
Every customer, every time, same way is a great plan. But let's change it up just a bit for the service lane. How about each customer, every time, the same way? I like it. All your customers are different, and your conversations with them will vary greatly. Their cars are different, so their needs are different. However, the key points in your process need to be consistent, repeatable, and sustainable. There has to be guideposts to keep the service advisor on track and triggers and prompts that keep them moving down the path, hitting each important step. This is exactly how F&I does it with a menu system. Think about your life as a consumer. How many transactions do you engage in that are not meticulously scripted and planned by the retailer? Why, these days, almost every retail transaction is controlled by an application of some kind. The POS system the cashier is using, or the app on your phone, it's all scripted. Have you ever heard the saying, there's only one way to cook a French fry at McDonald's? Now, granted, riding up a car in service is not as simple as cooking French fries, but many of the steps are. The fries are just a step in preparing the full meal. With all due respect to Burger King, if each person in the kitchen is doing it their way, it won't be very efficient. Now, let's talk about McDonald's. McDonald's actually revolutionized the burger joint. Prior to the McDonald's method being developed, it's not that the people working in kitchens were the reason the service was less efficient than what we experience today. The reality is that managers only knew what they knew, and the kitchen crew, they were just doing what they were asked and what was expected.
World famous sales trainer Joe Verdi advises dealers to take a firm line on this. Settle on a process, train your people, give them time to develop a habit, but at the end of the day, it is not an option. He would say if they want to do it their way, that's okay, but they can't do it here. That may sound like a hard tact, but think again about your life as a consumer. How many businesses do you buy from where they allow each individual to pick and choose what part of the process they're going to do and what they are not going to do? It also may be a hard task if you have not done your part in providing your team with adequate leadership in developing processes and procuring the tools they need to get the job done. Unfortunately, that is often the case. Employees want to comply. They want to do the right thing. They want to win.
Managers should always be asking themselves, self, am I doing the most important thing right now? They have an important job to perform. Simply walking in each day, turning on the lights, and reacting to the day's events are not it. Being reactive is easy. Being proactive is hard. Putting out fires all day is not good. I think we can all agree on that. The poor performance that results from it is also not good. But interestingly, when you're being pulled around by the events of your day, instead of taking charge of your day, the day goes by quickly and you feel like you're earning your keep. But are you? Putting out fires is exhausting. Making excuses for poor performance is demoralizing. But it's not as challenging as being proactive, creating plans, and executing plans, and holding yourself and your team accountable to the plan. Teams actually function better, and life is so much better when you're winning, right? It takes a lot of willpower and work to make a plan and stick to it, but the reward is always worth it. I'm not just talking about compensation, but also the other quality of life things that matter. A positive work environment, satisfied customers, a happy, motivated team, happy customers, happy bosses, getting home on time, and less stress coming home with you when you get there.
Okay, it's easy to blame the manager, but what about the manager's boss? Has the manager been provided the tools and resources they need for their team? Or have they been provided what someone else thinks they need? Have they been asked what they need to hit their KPI goals? Look at the service lane. Do they have the best PCs and fastest printers in the store? They should. They spend the most time with your customers. Do they have lane tools that they believe are the best choice to get the results the dealership needs? They should. Tell your team what you expect, not want, and ask them what they need to get it accomplished. Let them make that case. Push back a little. Remember, service people are not typically hard charging salespeople. You don't want to intimidate them, but make them own the decision. Then get them what they asked for. They now share in the ownership. A lot is going on in the service lane, and it's easy for an advisor to get taken off track. The answer for many dealers is to implement a one-size-fits-all method that sacrifices beneficial tasks in the name of efficiency. The solution should not be to eliminate important steps in the write-up process just to do it faster. The solution is an efficient way to perform all of the important steps in a quality write-up every time, do them better with consistency in less time, and at a pace that will please the customer.
When menus were introduced to the F&I process, it actually revolutionized that revenue center. The same is true when it comes to Service Lane eAdvisor and the dealership service lanes. We invented this technology, and although we've been helping dealers increase their net profit via maintenance sales and via C-sales in the lane, eAdvisor is so much more. It's actually been described as paint by numbers in the service lane. The tool is often described as the magic wand. Plug the tool into the OBD2 port and chat with the customers. Walk around the vehicle, present the specific maintenance recommendations that we printed for you automatically, use the 100% accurate vehicle data we sent to your DMS, and follow the prompts. Now you cover all the bases. eAdvisor guides every service advisor through the write-up process. Facilitated by our patented tool and our consistently correct check-in process, it helps your greenest advisor learn the correct way to do things the first time and helps you break your more experienced advisors of bad habits and replaces those habits with better ones. Don't sacrifice the quality of your write-up process in order to keep the line moving. Request an eAdvisor demo today and let us show you how we can implement each customer every time the same way in your service lane. Each customer every time the same way, it works in your F&I department and it will work in your service lane. Hopefully that was close to 8 minutes of content, leaving a few minutes to answer your questions. What have you got for us, Rachel?
Thank you, Brian and Paige. With that, this concludes this episode of 10 Minutes to Highly Effective Service. We've had some great questions come in, and we have just a little bit of time to answer those live. This first question looks like it's for Brian. They liked your comparison to a Wild West show. What would be some KPIs to monitor for the service lane process?
Thank you. Can you hear me okay, Rachel?
Yes.
Okay, so that's really a great question. And the answer is that it's really not easy to measure these things. You can be accurate, but it's not like just running a simple report out of your DMS. First and foremost, you need to measure your maintenance presentation on the service lane and the maintenance closing percentage. With eAdvisor's new ESS system, by the way, if you're a GM dealer using Workbench, we can measure that for you pretty easily. But you should certainly measure dollars per RO from a baseline. 1.8 hours is the benchmark now, per RO. And then, apply your rate to it, and you can figure out what your dollars per hour should be. And of course, CSI. And, by the way, again, CSI is very important. But, and by the way, some dealers like to use tablet uses percentage. Seems like a pointless KPI to me. Other than counting the number of ROs they write, there's really no other reports. No benefit to that kind of a report. But good question. Great question.
Thank you, Brian. And how important is it to keep the line moving? We're high volume. This is a challenge for us to take your advice on this.
I'll take that one, Rachel. Now, don't get us wrong. We absolutely agree that you can keep the line moving and still be very thorough. If you look at eAdvisor, you can do the write-up a minimum of 3 minutes quicker because we're saving that 3 minutes for you because we're doing a lot of those processes for you that your advisors are doing manually right now. So you're going to be able to get more accomplished in less time. So we organize that entire process and automate it. So just think about this, just organized people in general, they always get more done in less time. And so do people organized by an efficient process. And that's what we want to help you create, is that efficient process. So if I was confronted with a choice of doing it faster or doing it better, I'm going to hopefully choose better every single time over faster. And the good news is that with eAdvisor, you don't have to make that choice. We take care of it for you.
Thank you, Paige. And we have time for one more question. Brian, this looks like it's for you again. They've been trying to get this done for years. Is there any advice you have to get advisors on board?
You give me this one because I'm the hard guy. I'm the heavy, right? So listen, I understand. And, frankly, we do our employees a disservice when we don't enforce the rules and we fail to hold them accountable. The other employees, they'll see that, A, they're going to get mad. B, they're going to lower their own output because they feel like suckers. A weak leader causes anxiety in the ranks and leads to employee turnover and all the other bad stuff. I would say choose a stern, fair leader, one who, doesn't accept excuses, doesn't make excuses for their employees. Do like Joe Verdi suggests. It's not an option. Don't be afraid to enforce it because it shouldn't be an option for the leader to enforce it either. That's what I got. Thanks.
Thank you, Brian. That's all the time we have today. I wanted to thank everyone for your time today and for those of you that submitted your questions. If we didn't have a chance to answer yours live, we'll reach out to you individually after the webinar.